What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Destroy is an archetype that is heavily on the rise, and it's about to hit its peak in August. Today kicks off a new series, a master guide for archetypes, and Destroy is the first one we cover, giving you guys tips that you may or probably don't know about every single card, the best decks, and then we'll be doing a tier list of every single Destroy card. Now, joining me today, I've got both Lamby and Dekster. We're going to do a tier list and talk about the cards, and I'm pretty pumped here as there's a lot behind Destroy that you may not know, even if you play it a lot. So I brought in Lamby once again. It was good to have you for Thanos. Now we have you for Destroy. And Lamby, I know you've been playing a good amount of Destroy recently, and I thought it would be cool for me and you both to go through all the core Destroy cards and kind of talk about things that people may not know. I think Destroy is not only on the rise, but it's booming to the top with some cards coming out here. Which is fun to see. It's a great archetype. And just first of all, just general thoughts on the Destroy archetype.
I think Destroy is in a really interesting spot right now, mainly because of Nimrod specifically. Like the fact that Nimrod got a little bit buffed opened up way more possibilities for the deck. And we also know in the future that there might be more potential Destroy cards that would benefit the archetype.
Let's go ahead and start with the one drops. And we're going to start with Deadpool, man. It turned from a fun card to, kind of making its way, I feel like, into Destroy decks. If you had a tip for people who like Deadpool or something they may not know, what would that be?
Well, I think from a playability standpoint, I feel like the one thing that you need to remember about Deadpool is that, firstly, Marvel Snap has only 6 turns. So you really want to get your Deadpool destroyed as soon as possible, right? I think you prioritize destroying Deadpool in a Deadpool deck more than anything else. So if you get Deadpool on 1, you just kill it on turn 2 and just kill it on turn 3 again, and then just kill it as many times as possible, because 1 becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 8, becomes 16, right? So I feel like with Deadpool, the thing that people sometimes forget is that they try and greed it, they try and pop it along with other things at the same time, which delays the popping of the initial Deadpool, which makes it, well, relatively small. So if you're going for a Deadpool strategy, just pop, 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 pop.
Yeah. I agree for sure. Play Nova first. You should know it by now, but put out Nova if you can before Deadpool. If that's the all-in deck you're going for, is kind of my thought. If you can even get him to a 1/8, which is 3 destroys, that brings Death down to a 5, meaning you can play both on 6. That's kind of like the one thing I try to go for with the way that Deadpool works. Also, I think it's cool that Phoenix Force, you can destroy this guy reliably, but it's another card that it's not brought back, so you can kind of direct that a bit more, but we'll get to Phoenix. All right, man. Next card, Elektra. This is never played. I'm gonna leave this one to you.
Okay, so when we said destroy cards, I didn't even think about this as a destroy card, but well, in theory, yes, she kind of does destroy something. Okay, so this card was played in a small iteration of Bounce for a period because it kind of can snipe opposing Kitty Prides. But the problem with Elektra is that you really have to. It has that one use case. And I don't think she is very prevalent in the meta right now. She has great art, by the way. Look at this one. But
fantastic.
I don't think Elektra has much use case right now, aside from the obvious one that's literally in her text. So yeah.
Nova, I think, is a very big topic, right? There's a lot around the card. Do you like Nova? Do you put it in Destroy decks?
Nova is that one card, that one Destroy card that is played in more non-Destroy decks than Destroy decks, I feel like. It's played in Sarah, it's played in Surfer. The fact that you can run this and Killmonger in any deck just to get the overall buff is really strong. Also, people don't remember this, but if you are playing Blue Marvel, you probably should love Nova as well, because Nova is a 1 energy blue Marvel, right? A lot of the time. So I feel like Nova is one of those cards that I feel can be severely underrated sometimes in terms of the power it gives on the board. Even in a pure Destroy deck, buffing your Nimrod to 5/7 and then popping the Nimrod multiple times, it compounds, right? So Nova's buff compounds on stuff like Wolverine, Deadpool, Nimrod. So I think this card is really, really strong, and to me, one of the better cards in the Destroy archetype overall. Yeah,
for sure. Only tip I have is, I feel like if you're playing Destroy, it doesn't matter when you get it out there. You can get it out there early. When you're not playing Destroy and it's like Surfer, I kind of like keeping Nova a secret, because you don't want them to know you got the Killmonger to snipe, and then you can have a surprise aspect. Yeah, Nova, legit. Angel, we're just going to skip. Pretty bad card. Not a lot of uses, unless you have something to say about Angel.
Well, I do actually. I do actually have something to say about Angel, which is, firstly, this card needs to get better. It has some insanely fire art. look at the art. Like the Apocalypse skin angel is crazy. Like
Even this,
I think there is like, yeah, even the chibi version is not the OG Angel, it's the Apocalypse art. I mean, like, everyone loves that, and I really think Angel needs a buff.
Yondu is an interesting one. I think people go back and forth. You know, it's good for intel, obviously, and then, you know, you're getting use out of it, both getting death's cost down, and you're building up Knull. Do you put Yondu in more of your core destroy decks? What are your thoughts on Yondu?
I think Yondu is one of the cards that got a lot worse after the wave change, because in previous death wave iterations, right, like the fact that when you can go like wave into death, that kind of thing, you only need to reduce death by 2 destroys. I think Yondu was very clutch because it let you do the whole death wave thing more consistently, but that was pre-nerf. Now post-nerf, the only real use case for it is like now, I believe. Now is one of the biggest use cases for it to get now slightly bigger. But other than that, I think he's relatively not very useful. You could argue that, yeah, sometimes he gets you information on your opponent's deck, but it's marginal.
Destroy, man, every slot matters so much because of what you're trying to accomplish. And that's why I think he's kind of getting pushed out a bit, but he can work in some builds. But oh man, Bucky Barnes. I love me some Bucky, some Winter Soldier.
Bucky is one of those cards, when Death Wave used to be very popular, I always believe in this theory whereby if Death Wave gets Bucky on 2, Carnage on 3, it's like winning everything, because that's so much tempo swing, so much stats. Bucky, I think till this day is still one of the biggest tempo swing like cards that you can play in your deck, because just popping it early is just +6 out of nowhere, right? And like the card that you use to pop it usually has an upside as well. Carnage, Venom, whatever. Even Deathlok is fine. So Bucky, I think staple of the Destroy archetype. Not saying that it's staple in every Destroy deck, but the thing is, if you're playing Destroy, you definitely will consider Bucky because it's so much stats.
Yeah, you know what I love is just the presence that he has. The fact that you can drop like instantaneously, like even 10 plus power just with the Carnage Bucky. And people forget, like they're like, okay, you have to do 2 cards to get even a 2/6 when you have Medusa or something as a 2/5. But to what you just said, right? You're building up Carnage +2, so that's a 2/8, and then you're also, or you know, maybe a 4/8. You can look at it as that. But at the same time, like Death is going down, Knull's going up. There's just a lot of interactions with Bucky outside of just the pure power you get, man. I'm a big fan. I would agree with what you said.
Carnage is also one of my favorite Destroy cards outside of like Nimrod, because firstly, it's low cost, it's convenient, and it usually fits into many archetypes. Like I've been playing it in Thanos as well, just to clear space on the board. Destroy decks almost always feature Carnage no matter what. Carnage is one of those cards that like just gets better the more nonsense there is on the board, right? Like if you have rocks, if you have squirrels, sometimes Infinity Stones, or maybe locations like bad locations that you need to clear space for. Like Carnage is utility in a card. Firstly, low cost, which is part of the utility, and it gets bigger from getting rid of the nonsense on your board. So like I feel this card is one of my favorites. It is very much likely to be in almost any Destroy deck you will see even in the future, and please release more fire variants.
Now, I think people, the mistake I see with Carnage the most when I see people play him is I feel like they play him a bit too early. But it also depends on the deck you're playing. Obviously, like Nimrod, you're probably going to want to save him. But for you, when do you usually play Carnage out?
For Destroy decks, like you said, Nimrod decks, you want to save it for a big like turn 6 swing, right? With maybe Carnage, Venom, that kind of thing. There's also merit to destroying early sometimes, because Carnage is so interesting, because on certain locations, like cloning vets, right? You just pop random things and then you get more Carnages. You get like Sinister Londons, you just pop and then just get more Carnages. So Carnage, the way Carnage works and with some certain locations just makes it like absurdly big for a 2-cost card, no matter when you pop with it. So yeah, I think Carnage is very flexible that way.
Let's move on and get to Wolverine. Now, I love Wolverine because I feel like his buff was huge, but I still feel like he's kind of slept on. I actually feel like people don't understand how good Wolverine is. I'm going to give you the floor.
Yeah, so in one of my Nimrod deck iterations previously, I was discussing with some of my Discord members. They were thinking of cutting Wolverine at first, and I was like, no, you never do that, because Wolverine scales upwards infinitely and it's crazy good. So firstly, it gets you into random locations that sometimes you cannot reach, and that's one. But destroying Wolverine early is a lot of power, and like, let's say you destroy it once, it's going to be a 2/4, destroy it again, 2/6. Like, it contributes to a lot of things, right? It contributes to Carnage stats as well, contributes to Venom stats as well, reduces Death's cost. And this one is lesser known, but if the Wolverine is sort of big enough and you go Zola on Wolverine, it's also a lot of stats. A lot of stats. It's triple Wolverine that goes random places which your opponent cannot plan for. So I'm like, this guy's really good.
Anything that I like to call regenerative destroy, right? When you get rid of something and it's you don't have the con of destroy, you're building it, and Wolverine's just getting bigger. Yeah, I love Wolverine. I think like Yondu, I've seen compared to him, this is always the choice. And then like you said, like I feel like he always goes into a location to help you out a lot of the times, and he helps against bad location RNG. Let's get to Killmonger. I think this one is, I mean, pretty basic. Everyone knows about Killmonger, but anything you want to kind of add to him as a card?
Killmonger, I think, is the the most played destroy card in like non-destroy decks, right? Like in general, like it's played everywhere. Played in Sarah once again. Played in Thanos, even played in, well, basically any that you now with the fact that Invisible Woman is a thing in the meta. Invisible Woman Killmonger is like a game-winning turn 6 play as well versus Bounce, for example. The design of Killmonger as a card is perfect. Like you should never nerf this card, and this card needs to be around. Like the threat of Killmonger being around is very important for Marvel Snap, and I think the cost and power it's at is also just perfect. Very rarely I see it exactly on turn 6, because turn 6 usually you still want to play like your big card, unless of course you're playing a Sarah deck, then yeah, you play it on turn 6. But for the most part, I feel like Killmonger nowadays, like you said, gets delayed a bit more. Like it's not played so much in the early game. Usually during the later half of the game is where we usually see Killmonger.
It's fantastic in Destroy Thanos, able to clear up the lanes just instantly. And I also think he's a cheeky Knull buildup. You can get all these Thanos things out, whatever it might be, and then you can, skyrocket Knull, especially if you wait on their Sunspot, Kitty Pryde, things like that. Let them build up the power first. But priority is what you want to look out for. Now, Venom is probably single-handedly my favorite Destroy card. I think so. I think it might be my favorite Destroy card, man. OTA was massive. Let's talk about him.
Venom, I love this card now. Like before the OTA, I didn't really like explore Venom, but the fact it's a 3/3 now, is massive, right? It's a massive boost to the card. There's a lot of ways to use it that some people maybe do not realize yet. Like it retains the stats of like buffs, right? I'm sure you know this. Like, so let's say you eat something on Nidavellir, it's gonna be that big. It's an interesting concept. I really like the fact that Venom opens up some really like big boy strategies in the Destroy deck, like Venom into like Taskmaster stuff, or well, I mean you can do Venom Phoenix Force and all that kind of thing. So I feel like Venom is really one of those cards that it's not as easy to use as Carnage. Don't get me wrong, Carnage is still the most flexible, but like in terms of scaling upwards of power, Venom's ceiling is really high.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Arnim Zola threat of him is really cool. It's really great to be able to, like what you just said, Taskmaster. And then, I even like being able to throw a last turn death and then throw a Venom. I maybe already have Knull out because I cheated him, whatever that might be. And then you could just spread that power to 2 lanes. Kingpin, I'm going to put in here, even though he's not Destroy. I'm going to be very brief on him. This is not a Destroy card, but there's nowhere else where he belongs, I feel like.
All right, so this is one thing that I noticed as well, that Kingpin is often the worst card in his own deck. So, like, every time you try and make him work, you realize you win without actually trying to make him work. So, I'm not a fan of Kingpin. Yeah, like, I mean, like you said, keep it brief. I'm not a fan of this card. I feel like the setup for him is too much effort, and I have never actually successfully made a good Kingpin deck, not gonna lie.
Sabretooth, recently, people are finally getting on the Sabretooth train a little bit. In my opinion, it goes back to regenerative discard. You can kill him, and it's just aiding you even more. People forget about him. I definitely like Sabretooth, but I do want to hear your thoughts on him.
I like the fact that we can get to play 0 energy cards. If you guys know me already, I love my free cards that I can just spam onto the board. But I think the problem with Sabretooth is it needs to be 1 energy cheaper. Like, I think at 3/4, it fights for the slot, like the turn 3 slot. You want to play your actual Destroy card, right? So like it's awkward. It's like, yes, it's free, but it's awkward because it's a little bit too expensive. It doesn't come down in time. So I feel like if it goes down to a 2/4, it's gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be broken at 2/4. At 3/4, it's a bit difficult to use. At 2/4, it's actually more playable. So I would really like to see this go up to a 2/4.
I'm even good at like it being a 2/3, and if you destroy it, you get +1 and 0 cost. So then at that point, you actually have to do something with it. But that was my exact notes. Him being 3 cost is so awkward. You don't want to play him on 3, and you feel like you're burning your your role of getting death down, all the things you're trying to do. But he is decent in the right deck. But yes, you hit it. You hit the nail on the head there. Oh man, Deathlok. I think this is one of the more probably one of the least, before Nimrod, one of the least respected cards. I think obviously with Nimrod, you do get the Carnage, Venom, Deathlok combination going on. 5 powers, nothing to sleep on. Lamby, I'll just say for me, if you feel like they're going to armor or Cosmo you, and you have the choice between, you know, Carnage, whatever, that's the best time to play Deathlok in my opinion. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so obviously Deathlok is the little brother of Carnage and Venom in this scenario. Like, it's like the worst one out of the 3 like potential good destroy cards. But I feel like in like specifically a Nimrod deck where you want to have the most options and most like outs to destroy your Nimrod, you still want to include Deathlok for sure. It's just that I feel the problem with Deathlok is that the upside to the card being a 3/5 is not very good, not very much, and a lot of the time you just play it in a naked lane, just as a turn 3/5. I think that's happened to many people before. So
yeah, I think he's gonna get much better when we get Dak in and we get X23, some of these crazy destroy cards. That's gonna give him way more use. I think Destroy Surfer instead of just being meme may actually have a chance. It's gonna be kind of sick. Next card, Negasonic.
I'm so not a fan of this card because like I've never gotten this to work. Every time I play this out, it just dies to a wasp or something. Like, I mean, like, okay, fine, yeah, I mean, the Venom use case is cute and all, but like, this card can easily be 2 energy, I feel. Like at 3 energy, it's awkward. I mean, like, the 5 power is just there for fun, I guess, because it always explodes. So it could be a 2/0 and it will be better, like, for what it's worth.
There are some kind of control, destroy stuff going out there a little bit. Maybe you can work in there. But yes, this is more of a pass for the most part. Nimrod.
Yo.
Oh, man. You're a Nimrod believer. I love to see it. I think Nimrod is one of those cards, man, that if you master, it rewards you by just knowing where it spreads out. I think this is going to be the card we talk about the most. Just lay it on me.
When you think of Nimrod, you think of it like multiplying multiple times. And like when you turn something from 5 to 6 power and then it multiplies, it's a lot of stats. And then if you factor in the Nova buff as well, so from 5 to 6 to 7, and then from 7 you multiply it multiple times on the board, it's like sometimes even 10 power increase just from like killing this with like Nova on the board and stuff like that. So I feel like Nimrod is one of those cards that if you're not strictly a Cosmo armor deck, when you see it being played on 5, it puts the fear of God in you. Like, you just think, oh no, wait, what is gonna happen right now? Then you start counting. Even if you don't actually die to it, you are very scared because there are so many ways and places that Nimrod can go that just obliterate you, right? Like, you will be thinking like, okay, my Dr. Doom is gonna win this random lane. Then they play a Nimrod, they're like, okay, my Dr. Doom is not gonna do anything anymore. So like, it's so scary to play against. Like, I think the main thing about Nimrod is that people, when they see it, at least for me, when I see it being played on 5, I'm like, oh no, okay, wait, I need to start doing a lot of math.
Yeah, so that's where I was saying that if you master it, right? Because if you learn how it kind of interacts, like, dude, it took me forever to learn, like, okay, because like he just said, you can do destroy combos, you can do the destroyer, you can do Arnim Zola, and to know exactly what's about to happen with those interactions, everyone is different, right? So let's walk through those, and then I also want to walk through Galactus. I see people confused all the time with Galactus. When you play Galactus, why does Nimrod not always go to one of the locations before the other?
It doesn't always go in the lane that you want it to, because you have to actually destroy, like, let's say you play Nimrod on the left, right? You have to play Galactus like in the middle or something to destroy, and then destroy on the right, so everything goes into the center, that kind of thing. Like, if you play it in the wrong lane, you actually only get one Nimrod. I'm not sure if you guys know. You wanna play Nimrod on the left, and then you wanna play Galactus in the left.
Middle or right, yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, middle or right.
Do you like, what is the best combo? Is it Arnim Zola, Destroyer, or Carnage Deathlok, or Venom?
I like, okay, my personal favorite is like, okay, you go Shuri, then you go what's that called? You go Nimrod, and then you go like Venom Carnage. That's like the most stats, right? That's my favorite. Like, this is one of those times where we mentioned Wolverine and Nova earlier in the game as well. Like, these things all stack up. Like, you've got a random Wolverine lying around, you've got a Nova lying around. You just wait, you play Nimrod on 5, and you just go for the big pop, and the stats fly everywhere, and then it's so difficult for your opponent to figure out which and where. And the thing is, with Nimrod, it's not completely random like Wolverine, right? You can kind of choose where you want like the more stats to go. Like, you can stack the Venom lane, right? Like, you can Venom the Nimrod, and then you Carnage it somewhere else so that the Venom lane is like doubly big. like with the Nimrod and the big Venom. So
Yep.
you can really choose. It's a bit bounce-ish, whereby bounce puts a lot of stats in random places and it's difficult to determine. Nimrod decks can do that as well, whereby you can sort of control where you want some of the Nimrods to go. So it's a bit mind-boggling for the opponent, in my opinion.
Venom, man, if I have Venom's Nimrod, it's a snappable moment. Just, it's so much power at once. Maybe you even get a free death out there or a cheap death. Very good card. One of the best feeling 5 costs, in my opinion. I never feel bad. Phoenix Force, I'll be brief. I just think the card needs help.
Yeah, I think the card is one of those cards that could be great, but it's a bit expensive. I'm not a fan of it now. I've tried to make Phoenix Force work like on the day of the release. And I realized that winning with a Phoenix Force deck is a little bit like Kingpin, but not as bad. Like, you gotta try and make it work. You gotta force it to work, you know? There's a lot of setup, and like, the thing is, you don't actually even get that many cubes from it. Like, if you hit the setup, you play the force on 5, people know they're either like dead or whatever, so you don't really get much cube equity from it anyway. So I think this card needs a bit of help.
Tell me about your favorite ways to use Arnim Zola. Obviously, Arnim Nola is about to explode with X23 coming out. You're gonna be able to cheat out 6-cost cards way easier because of X23. Yeah. Let's hear about Arnim Nola, your favorite uses.
I actually think this is also one of my favorite destroy cards in non-destroy decks as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, I play a lot of ramp, right? Like, I think this card is really interesting because the thing about this card is that it's like, okay, people do Doom and Odin, right? You can also go Doom and Arnim Zola and you get a ton of Doom bots.
Yeah.
Like, you can even do crazy things like you can go Arnim Zola on your leader and then you get like a lot of stats. Like I really love this card more in ramp than in destroy. I mean, it obviously fits in destroy. Like with Nimrod, right? You get a lot of Nimrods. You get like, I think 4 Nimrods or something. But like, yeah, I like this a lot more in ramp. Also, recently I found this very degenerate way of playing ramp, which is you go Electro and then you play Spider-Man and then you play Zola on the Spider-Man and then you get pre-nerf Zabu all over again, you know. But like, yeah, that's one of the degenerate ways I love to use Arnim Zola.
Oh my god, that's sick. Yeah, listen, I think my favorite thing about Arnim Zola is, like you said, the surprise factor too. If you play like Devil Dinosaur or something even, and then you Arnim that, they're not expecting that. He's a big cube winner. And then my favorite thing is, dude, even if they know you have this card, I feel like, Lamby, the threat of him is great too. Like, they don't know if you're going to do the Arnim Zola, then you have Devil Dino out, and they're like questioning if you're going to do it. I love him. One of my favorite cards. Love that you had your uses there.
Now is one of those cards that I don't really like, honestly, because, okay, outside of in Mr. Negative decks, it's always going to be like 6 energy. It's one of those cards that, yes, you need to set up. It naturally sort of gets bigger because you destroy stuff, but really, how big is it outside of actually Galactus? Like, if it's in a Galactus deck, this is very huge, right? If you pop the lane and then it's gonna be like 30 plus 40-ish power. But like in normal destroy decks, how realistically big is this? Like, sometimes you get it to like 15. 6 is huge, but like the amount of effort you need to make this big, like intentionally, I think is one of the reasons why I don't really like the card in destroy decks. I feel like if you were to play it on turn 6, you limit your options as well, right? Like, for example, if you were to play a Nimrod deck, you wouldn't really want to play this on turn 6 because you play Nimrod on 5, you want to pop Nimrod on 6. So like, this card fights for the slot with Destroyer, with Venom, Carnage in like the good destroy decks. So I think it's a bit second fiddle to some of the other options that we've had before.
Yeah, so I'm a big Knull guy. All right, what I'll say is I feel like this will be the biggest riser come August with the new card releases just because of X23. The 6 cost is too much. He's too much at 6. Yeah. And so if you can now have this way, if you can like play X23 to get him out a little early, I feel like we're about to see multiple builds of Destroy when we get into August. And I think he'll have an iteration of a deck within that. I like him in ramp, just getting him out there if you can, because again, Arnim Nola, really good combo, but he doesn't get that big. Even in Arnim Nola, you can get him to like 28, something like that. And there, now with Nimrod's buff, it usually is better. But he's a fun card. In
the future, if more people are abusing the destroy mechanics, right, like it's a bit more natural to fit this because you don't need that much effort to get it big, right? Your opponent's gonna get it big for you. So if you are playing now and your opponent's not playing now, you kind of have like this safety net on turn 6 whereby they're like, all right, they're gonna go pop crazy, but I have one card that wins the other lane if they don't play now. So it might be a thing, right? It might be a thing when now becomes like sort of staple in destroy just because everybody's playing destroy.
Destroyer? We can be brief, but I think Destroyer is super interesting. What are your ways you like to use him?
Okay, the first most obvious way that he functions is the Nimrod deck, right? Shuri, Nimrod, and then you Destroyer, and then you get like 15 plus 12, and then 12 somewhere else, that kind of thing. That's the most like baseline level for Destroyer. But recently, Destroyer has been really good for me because it's like the best Spider-Ham target to get hit, right? Like if they hit it at 615, I'm like, alright, turn 6, 15 energy, 15 power, I mean. Like the people that run Armor and Cosmo, this is like the hedge against the Armor and Cosmo decks as well. Like you play it in their Cosmo lane, it's just big. You play it in the Armor lane because, well, I mean, it doesn't pop the stuff in the Armor lane. But like, I feel like this card is not as good when it comes to being useful in a Destroy archetype because it's firstly expensive, it's not very flexible, but as compared to Venom and Carnage. But it has some very niche use cases whereby like, let's say you play against a wave deck, right? They wave you on turn 5, you cannot go Venom Carnage. You have the big boy out. Just play one big 15, pop your Nimrods, and still a lot of stats.
And then Death is our final one. Let me ask you, do you like to naturally get your Death down? Do you target? Do you build decks to target to get your Death down? Is she in every Destroy deck? Do you do Squirrel Girl, Killmonger?
Death was really, really, really one of my favorite cards in the game in the past because of the pre-wave nerf interaction, right? Like you could really get her down together with wave and then do some crazy things. Now it's a bit more annoying to play Death because the thing is, like in the most popular Destroy decks right now, like the Nimrod decks, you don't actually destroy as much, and most of your destroying is done on turn 6 as well. So it's really difficult to get Death down to a reasonable cost. I mean, yeah, she's now an 8 and not a 9 like last time, but the thing is, it's difficult to get her reduced cheaply enough to play her on curve. I feel like one of the use cases for her is actually like in a Thanos deck with Killmonger.
Yeah.
Like that one, I can safely say that if you Killmonger your stones and some of other 1-cost stuff, she can come down really easily at like 3 or 2 cost on like turn 5 or even turn 6. So I think her use case is more for in like a Thanos Destroy deck than an actual like dedicated like Nimrod Destroy deck.
Yeah, like her, I get it typically around 4-ish, 5-ish. I think the more that she's not in destroyed decks is going to be the better for her because she's a huge cube thief, man. People kind of forget that she exists and then you can slam her down. Good with some locations too. I think there's a lot, just Destroy in general is one of the better kind of like RNG protectors because there's so many locations that can screw you over. So I do agree. All right, so we've got Lammy's Destroy deck here. I have this alongside some other Destroy decks that work. And man, all I got to say is right off the bat, spice. Absolute spicy Destroy deck. There's some that stick out. I want you to kind of explain the deck for those who wish to play it.
All right, so the base idea of this deck, it's the way I build decks, which is do one thing and do it really, really well. So the one thing that you want to do here is draw Shuri on 4, Nimrod on 5, and go crazy on 6. It's literally that. I know it's going to sound very one-dimensional, but it's a Marvel Snap deck. There's 12 cards, and you're playing Chavez. You will see this combo often enough. So what we want to do here is firstly, we are maxing out on all the Destroy cards, right? Like we have Deathlok, we have Carnage, we have Venom, we even have the Destroyer and Zola. We are maxing out totally on destroying Nimrod many times. So even if we don't get the Shuri on 4 and we can get the Nimrod on 5, we can still pop it many times for a lot of stats on the board. I want to talk about some of the more like interesting cards in the deck. So firstly, Psylocke. Why Psylocke? Psylocke is amazing because if you guys know what X-23 does in the future, this is basically trying to get Nimrod out on turn 4. Right? Because what X-23 does is that you can play X-23, you pop it with something on turn 3, you go to 5 energy on turn 4, and then you play the Nimrod on turn 4. So this is basically budget X-23. And it's great because you can even play it on turn 2, and then you play Iron Lad, which is the next card we want to talk about. So Iron Lad is Nimrod number 2. As you can see, we are really going all in very hard on trying to get an early Nimrod. So Iron Lad could become a Nimrod. It could be a already bigger Venom. It could be a Zola. It could be a Wolverine, a 4/6 Wolverine, by the way. So Iron Lad is everything in this deck. It's really good. The only time it's not really good is that it's a Nova, but other than that, nah, it's fine. It's really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I love me some Lad in Destroy. I like Lad anyway, but I like Lad in Destroy. This is spice. I like it. I love the Psylocke inclusion. This will prep people for the X-23 days too, which I think is, like you said, super important. Your number 1 win condition is going to be the Shuri, Nimrod. I mean, probably getting the Psylocke out there, but in normal games, maybe Shuri, Nimrod, and then the Destroy package. What would be like your backup plans?
Right. So, firstly, I want to make a note that we don't have Bucky in here. If you notice already, because during my testing, I realized that it's gonna sound kind of weird, but Bucky clogs. Like if your primary game plan is Nimrod, Bucky is actually a space clogger and makes your Zola plays a bit scary, a bit more 50-50. So we realized that I'm just gonna go all in on the Nimrod. I guess you could say the backup plan, weirdly enough, is destroying Wolverine many times, because Wolverine in this deck gets popped so often, and I end the game often with like my Wolverine at like 2-8 very often. I'm building this with Conquest in mind, which is if you don't draw the good cards, retreat, right? So this is one of those decks that is very tunneled in on that one game plan, doing it really well. And if you don't get it, well, that's why you have cubes to spare, you retreat. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I like the deck. Doesn't have Deadpool. It's different than what's out there right now, too, and I think there's a lot of room to grow this deck with cards coming out, or if anything changes via buffs or nerfs. Now, in addition to the Nimrod Destroy deck, we have the other most popular version, and that is the Knull Pure Regenerative Destroy deck. Now, this is going to be utilizing Deadpool, so I think it's a lot of fun. Your opponent doesn't really know what's going on and what cards you might have drawn, and altogether, it has incredible stats for the games played. Pretty much everything you destroy in the deck is going to feed the deck as well by, building up your Knull, lowering the death, and then, of course, you get free Sabretooths. Wolverine is going to bounce around. Bucky gets bigger. Guys, I can't tell you how good this deck is, and again, it is only going to get better. Whether you want the Nimrod version or this, they both play very differently. It just more depends on your play style and if you want to try to get one thing done or you'd like to have multiple win conditions. And then other than those two decks, we have one other competitive deck in Thanos Destroy. If you want to know pretty much everything you can know about Thanos, I do have another mastery guide with Lamby that you can find in the top right-hand corner. Anyway, man, awesome stuff. I'm sure people got just a wealth of knowledge. Hopefully, like maybe 10% from myself and 90% from you. But anyway, dude, as always, it's good having you here, guys. And you guys can find all of Lammy's stuff in the description below. And as always, Lammy, it's good having you, bud. All right, you guys heard from Lamby, and now we've brought in the infamous Dekkster, the Snapster, and we are going to do a tier list. Now, Lamby has sent his ratings. You guys will see those pop up. But Snapster, Dekkster, we're going to do some rating on Destroy. How we doing today?
Doing good, man. I'm excited. I love Destroy decks. I've been playing a lot of them lately, actually.
Yeah, we were just talking about how it's gonna be on the rise, man. The next couple months of Destroy is pretty filthy. I know you've done card videos in the future. X23, Goliath.
Next month's gonna be a good one. I'm excited for that. This month kind of sucked.
So what we're gonna do, man? We've done this before. We've done the 2 costs. We're gonna rate all of the Destroy cards in the context of how they are in Destroy. Now, here's the deal, guys. We've got ourselves the tiers. S is top tier, A is fire, B is pretty good, C is mid, and F is just straight garbage. We're going to focus on pure Destroy cards as a whole. Now, we're going to rank them at the same time. I don't know Dekkster's ratings. I don't know Lammy's. And maybe we probably should agree on most of this, I feel like.
3, 2, 1.
Go.
Wow.
A C tier for Deadpool?
Yeah, he's been coming around. I've been enjoying him a little bit more. But I still feel like Destroy decks are pretty good without him.
So you're saying he's on the bottom of the barrel of Destroy?
Yeah, I think so. I want him to be better. I think really what we need is like one more card that destroys things, and then he'd be up there. But I feel like there's a bit of a lack of consistency. I always draw my Deadpool too late, and then he's kind of just bad. I also kind of play him in Knull decks recently, and it's great to kill him and like juice up your Knull. But on the final turn, I generally don't play Deadpool.
I'm gonna fight B. I'm gonna fight you on B, sir.
That's fine. We could put him B.
I feel like too, like we're gonna have all these rankings, then we're gonna get Lammy's because Lamby guys is sending them after this, and it's just gonna throw them for a loop.
3, 2, 1.
Okay,
yeah.
If you were gonna have a
It's
hot
so
take, I
bad.
was gonna be pissed, man.
Yeah, no, Elektra's awful. I thought if Elektra ever saw play, it'd be in like the Nebula era, but it ain't it. I don't know what they do to make her better. A 1/2, maybe? Or you get to destroy a targeted card or something.
3, 2, 1.
Really? An A?
Okay, I feel like Nova was an S and is kind of going down in the context of Destroy. I love Nova. I mean, Nova's obviously fantastic, but I just feel like when the slots are so tight, man. And now we're gonna be entering an era where you don't always have to have Nova. Nimrod already got the Nova buff.
I think Nova's just really good in general. Obviously in Destroy decks, but in general as well. You just played Nova and Killmonger. Just killing a Nova, buffing a couple things, 3 things maybe. You know, it becomes a 1/4 or whatever. Juices up your Knull as well. Juices up your Deadpool if you go Nova Deadpool, and then you destroy them both.
The thing is, I love Nova outside of Destroy. I feel like it's just a big dead giveaway. You probably have Killmonger, so it kind of sometimes can lose you surprise cubes. If you don't get him early, he can feel weird. That's why I have him at A.
I think you're full of shit. I think you're wrong.
I'm glad you
I think
held
he's
back.
great.
I'm glad you restrained yourself from going
Yeah.
too crazy there.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Right down there with Elektra. Pretty awful. I really think that my change to this card would be like, if he does fulfill his effect, if he does fly out of the deck, he should get a buff. Be like a 1/4 or a 1/3 at least, but still pretty awful.
There's just nowhere to use him. Yeah, he's got great variants. That's the best thing he's got going. Is he our official worst card in Destroy?
Yeah, I think he's worse than Elektra.
3, 2, 1.
See? Wait. Did you not get the memo? He's good.
They must have missed my mail. Here's the deal with Yondu. I do like Yondu. I focus on other things. I feel like he's falling out of Destroy a little bit. I feel like it's such a tight thing to get it going. Once Knull gets into more decks, or you're trying to get Death out there again, the Nimrod build I just don't think has him, and that's kind of the best build at the moment.
That's why we're coming from different directions. I'm going for a Knull build. In my mind, it's a Knull build with all the Destroy cards, and even got Deadpool in there. I'm not going Nimrod at all in my brain, so we're going different avenues here. But I think Yondu's fantastic for juicing up your Knull.
I could agree on B for sure. I could, you know what? The fact that I put him below Deadpool is probably a sin. I needed a hot take myself. I could put him in B. I don't feel like he's A personally.
3, 2, 1.
We have a big disagreement, and this isn't even in the Nimrod build.
This could be in the Nimrod build if you're going with Destroyer.
Yeah, that's
Play Bucky, Nimrod, and then you Destroyer. Yeah, that kind of works. I like Bucky just for killing him, playing him in a Death's Domain or something like that. He's fun. He's a good time. I think he's, from the list I've been playing a lot, he's in there, but he's the most cuttable card, I think.
I like Bucky for killing him. Like, I would hope you don't like the 2/1. You don't like
No. You got to kill the man.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Now
Finally, you're right.
Back on track. Dekkster got his head straight. Would you say, I'm gonna hit you with this before we rank the other ones, is this the best Destroy card?
No.
I feel like because he's the lowest cost Destroy card, that's always going to make him great. Elektra is terrible. But also, yeah, anti-clog, anti-RNG in some cases. And then, yeah, dude, you're getting him to a 2/8, I feel like a good amount of time.
Yeah, at least a 2/6 relatively easily. Yeah, he's a great card. He's mostly for that Destroy trigger being cheap, though, because we don't have a lot of those.
3, 2, 1.
Show me Hugh Jackman. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. 2 for 2, Dex. Look at us. We're actually friends. People don't doubt our friendship anymore. I feel like Wolverine, people think they can cut him, and they can't. He's solid, man.
Yeah, once he got reworked, he's great. He used to be absolute garbage.
The best days are ahead of him as well. I think that when this next season comes, these cards that also want to be destroyed, yeah, I think he's going to definitely be there. Is he below Nova? Yeah, in your book?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Pikachu Shockface. Yeah, dude, this was easy. This was easy.
He's just way too good. Outside of Destroy, obviously played as like a tech card, but killing your Nova, as well as killing your opponent's stuff, he's too flexible. He's too good. Killing your Deadpool, making him larger.
When do you play him most? Turn 3, 4, 5, or 6?
Lately, because I've been playing a Deadpool deck, it's actually like turn 4.
Yeah.
Maybe I play Deadpool on turn 3. Maybe I Deathlock him or something. Maybe I Deadpool Carnage. And then on turn 4, I do Deadpool Killmonger.
Talk about him with X-23, dude. This is... oh, my sweet God. Destroy is about to have so much, like, unique... Bro, are you like... So Dakin, X-23, those are, like, the main... And Lady Deathstrike. X-23 is in every deck, right? What about Dakin?
I think you're going to see a lot of Dakin with Killmonger. I don't know if Dakin goes off on his own. I mean, often decks just run Nova Killmonger, but I don't think they're going to run Nova Dak and Killmonger.
I think Nova's on his way out. That's why he's the A tier. Can I ask what Killmonger is better than Carnage or not?
I would say yes.
I think so too. I think Killmonger is one of the best cards in the game. I know this is destroy focus, but his wide versatility just it can't be overlooked.
3, 2, 1.
This is currently my favorite destroy card in the game.
I was going to say, you were asking if there's a card better than Carnage. I think that this is one. I mean, obviously Killmonger as well, but something about just eating your guys is just, it's gaining their power, just siphoning it, and then just, I don't know. He's just way too good. At a 3-1, he was so mediocre, but for some reason at a 3-3, he's huge. He's massive.
Yeah, just nasty card. Now, I think this is actually the harder question here. Where do you rank Venom here? Is he better or worse than Killmonger?
Oh, I think in a destroy deck, I think he's better.
That's what I
think.
Yes. Okay.
Non-destroy, just as a whole, I would say Killmonger is better.
I was gonna say, I think in a destroy deck, if we're talking destroy, Venom is the one to beat.
3, 2, 1.
All right, let's get to the next card.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, I struggled on this one. I wanted to put him in B. I think he's gotten better.
I almost put him in A, to be honest. I was between A and B here. I destroy him over and over is so good if you are playing a Knull deck. You play him on 3, and then maybe on turn 4 you do your, I don't know, your Deadpool Venom, and then maybe the following turn you hit him with a Carnage or something like that. You just constantly add 4 to your Knull while also having a flexible play where your opponent doesn't know where you're putting the 0-4. You can go in Crimson. Stuff like that. I'm really starting to like Sabretooth quite a bit more.
The deck I played probably the most last season, Sabretooth earned his role in there. I will completely say he's underrated. I think he's an underrated card. My problem with him, this is what me and Lammy were talking about, is he just feels awkward to put out on almost every turn. Like turn 3, you want to try to do some other stuff in that for, I feel like, a good amount of the time.
I'm getting more comfortable with him the more I play him, but he does feel a little clunky sometimes. There's a lot of things you want to do on 3. And generally, they seem like better lines than Sabretooth himself.
I just said that he was on the rise a little bit in my podcast, but I also feel like in the context of Destroy, he's just mid compared to... You have Deadpool below him?
I guess so. Yeah, you know what? I think my Deadpool's actually B. After looking at these, I think they're both B.
Okay, I'm going to leave him here for now. We'll let him kind of sit tight. We'll see what happens. The animation, though, they added was cool.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. What the heck?
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Oof.
Okay. I mean,
Okay,
he's one of the few cards I could destroy, so I get that. If that's the context, I could bump him up to A.
That's why I'm putting him there. There's not a lot of cards that actually destroy everything in a lane. Where there's this Venom Carnage. I think that's it. So, kind of need him if you're playing a destroy deck.
You do kind of need... You know what, though? He's always just the backup plan. It's like I'm just hoping for Venom. I'm hoping for Carnage. And then I get him, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's it. His only reason in my decks is the backup plan.
3, 2, 1.
I knew it. I knew you're going to... Listen, it's not a good card. But it's mid.
I don't even think it's... In what situation do you actually want to play this? I feel like the best case scenario is you play this into Nimrod, which isn't even a good scenario because your best scenario is actually like Shuri into Nimrod.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is a backup to your backup to your backup. It's like I don't know, an insurance policy, but it's not a good one.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna help out your Sabretooth B tier mine here. I think because she's not played is what makes her good. You have a couple scenarios. I've been playing a controlled destroy list a little bit more, where Jean Grey kind of fits in. I don't think that Negasonic is incredible, but I kind of like that she can lock things down. So you can obviously do Professor X, you can do Daredevil with her. I know we're talking to Destroy, but these are other uses. If you don't like your Negasonic play, you just Venom right on top, which is going to go ahead and add 5 to your Knull, and then you get it does not destroy the Venom.
Does juice up your Knull quite a bit because it adds the 5 and whatever else they play on it. So,
and turn 6, man, I won Infinity Conquest. You know what it comes to is I won an Infinity Conquest with her as my last play on a Hulk. And to me, I'm like, that is just, it's such insane value.
So you can't give it an F because it won you a ticket.
Honestly, that might be it.
Sheer luck.
It's the bottom of C tier, but I do think Negasonic isn't the worst. Alliath is coming out. It's going to make her honestly deleted from Snap.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I think it's C, right? Almost F,
Almost
maybe?
F.
Because in a destroy deck, you're actually not using him you're not using move cards.
You
You're not
don't
using
want to
a
be.
Ghost Spider. So maybe he's actually F. Negasonic might be better, but he's still 4/6. I don't know.
He's a 4/6. I feel like I try to do Cloak where you move him to Cloak and then you do Wolverine and then you eat it with Venom and then you get some kind of thing going.
Yeah, I don't know. He's weird. We need more move cards. Bottom of C, below Negasonic.
Look at that.
This is for a destroy deck, not for the card in general.
3, 2, 1.
S. He's good. He's pretty good.
He's great.
In a Nimrod deck, he's S tier. Because obviously you need to build the deck around him. He's kind of the core piece. But if you're just playing a destroy deck in general, I mean, he's a build around card for sure. Yeah, you go Shuri, you go Nimrod, and then you do a Deathlok Venom. Pretty good.
I just think the more you play him, the better he gets. Able to spread him to different lanes, and it keeps your opponent on their toes. You can Venom it. We are talking two different decks here is probably why I feel like he's just a much better Doom.
So I think we could put him S.
Bottom of S for Dekkster. Actually, that's probably where I would put him anyway. He's definitely not better than the ones above.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, you copying me over here.
Listen, it's just this card needs a lot of love.
Yeah, just very unexciting for a Battle Pass card. Probably one of the worst ones we've had so far. If this got changed somehow, it'd probably be better. But at the time, right now, it's just a dead card. It's awkward. You kind of have to play with multiple man, actually. Other than that, it's just not the one.
It's that weird move destroy thing. I feel like if there's a way to cheat it out early, like maybe with X23, you can get it out a little bit earlier. And the 5 cost is just awkward at times.
And I feel like when you're waving, it feels awkward to cheat out of 5 instead of a 6. So
where do you put it?
Yeah, I don't know. With X23 around the corner, getting this out on turn 4 would be really nice. But I'd probably bottom of C. Maybe above 2099.
I think above. You know what it is that if you not only getting it out early, you'd be able to move it more, which is is massive, right?
3, 2, 1.
All right.
Okay.
You're a believer now. The amount of garbage I've gotten from you about being an Arnim Zola fan.
Arnim's great. I have no problems with Arnim. He's good. Hitting an Arnim on a Venom is sometimes one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, dude. Listen, I think his best days are ahead. Once you can cheat him out a little bit earlier. Wolverine. Nothing feels bad to copy. Venom, Wolverine, Nimrod. It's great.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't run him in my decks. You have to build your deck in a specific way in order for Arnim to really be worth it. But yeah, he's fire.
And great for Conquest. Fantastic for Conquest. All right, we've got only a couple left, man. And we go to Knull. You've been a big Knull guy. I love it. Welcome to the club here.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Hey.
Were you shocked at my A placement?
Yeah, I thought you were going to put him F. I thought it was going to be another bad cozy call. Yeah, Knull's great. Also can be played in like negative decks, as weird as that is. But in destroy decks in general, I've been loving Knull.
I feel like the coolest thing about him is that he feels like another option, right? So if you're playing against a destroy deck, great, you're gonna win a lane. If you have a destroy location, you can kind of like your opponent might just think you're destroying, let's say, Deadpool, whatever it might be, but then you have the Knull that's spiced up for free. And then lastly, it's like insurance. If you can cheat them out there, you can, you can Shang-Chi a Monster Island, if they, whatever.
X23 gives you an extra energy, right?
It's gonna be nasty.
So on turn 5, you do Deadpool X23 Venom. Deadpool X23 Sabretooth Venom. You kill them all, and then on your final turn, you can play Deadpool and Knull and Death and Sabretooth again. Crazy.
Filthy. Where's Knull going?
Top of A. I like it there.
3, 2, 1.
At destroying, I don't think he's that great.
I think he's only really good in the Nimrod sort of deck as a like backup.
Yes, that's so. Yeah, he's not even my main win condition. It can feel good to Shuri him and get 30, and if you have like Wolverine on the board or whatever. But
one of my favorite things to do with Destroyer is that classic Invisible Woman in one lane, Shuri in a different lane, Taskmaster behind Invisible Woman, and then Destroyer on the Shuri lane. then it'll kill the Invisible Woman, and then Taskmaster will copy the Destroyer, and then you have 30 in 2 lanes. You know that one?
Spicy.
That's a good one.
That is,
but other than that, I don't. He's not really seen too much.
That's hot, man. That's hot. And it's you know, if it works out, and now Invisible Woman with Killmonger coming out a little bit more, obviously. So that's not bad. I would overall just say he's pretty good. Right on there with the tier list. Where do you want him?
I want to make a quick note on Deadpool over here. I feel like once X-23 comes out, he's gonna go up. He's gonna be way better because.
Wait, let me just put him where Dekkster had him here. Was it here?
No.
Yeah, okay.
I think the worst part is just being able to play Knull and Deadpool on the last turn. You can't do that. But with the X-23, properly time it so that you do that, and then I think you might be A or even S.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go A tier for sure.
No, I love Death. Death used to be 9, and I think Death was okay, but now your Death, my Death, is usually free by the end of the game.
Yeah, free. Whoa, that's impressive. I haven't gotten a free Death in a while, but I will say my favorite thing about Death is she's just like a cube stealer, man. People either forget about her, they think you're gonna do Knull. Just playing Venom with her, with Deadpool with her, you could do anything. It's insane. I gotta say, I think this list looks pretty good. This list to me, nothing is glaring outside of. I would put Deadpool above Yondu myself, but you know what? You gotta let Dekkster have a couple wins every now and then.
No, switch him. Okay, I'm making an executive decision.
Oh my god, we went from C tier to here. Now you get Sabretooth is about to be in the S tier by the end of the video.
Can we do that? Can we put?
Yeah, no outliers, man. I think everything in C tier could use a buff. F tier is like in need of the next OTA kind of thing. And then everything else is good, with everything in the S tier never dipping below.
Yeah, this is good. We did great work here.
We did. I'm proud of us. Well, I hope you learned something new about the Destroy archetype. And let me know down below if you want to see this for more archetypes, if this gets enough feedback or likes on the video. I'll take this as a yes, and we'll continue to do these. I want to thank you guys for taking the time watching today's video. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe or join the membership program to not only support me, but also get access to some really cool perks. Anyway, guys, as always, until the next one, happy snapping.